research. You came to gender issues, as you have described, fairly early on, but I noticed from your CV that a big area of publication for you has been research on rape and sexual violence. Now, how did that evolve?
Very serendipitously. I had a master's student who was interested in rape and why some women did not label their experiences as rape. And we had not done any research on this before and stuff. And, you know, the first time you do a research in a new area, you're going to make lots of mistakes. And her thesis had lots of problems that we couldn't have known about ahead of time. What we wanted to do is have people write out scripts. And so what she did is give a typical restaurant script. So the person goes into the restaurant, they're greeted by a host, they're seated, given water, given a menu. So then we ask people to talk about what happens on a typical rape. Woman walking, man attacks woman. You know, they didn't give enough detail, so there's very little to analyze. And so she graduated, but Ginny Matthey and I, Ginny's on the committee, decided, you know, I think there's something here. Let's see if we can explore this more. And we got a team of undergraduates to work with us and pre-tested and worked out some ways of getting people to write more elaborate scripts. And the interesting sidelight, our 1994 paper on rape scripts was the first manuscript that Jackie White accepted as editor of PWQ. So anyway, Ginny and I just continued for a while, always with students doing this research and doing different aspects of it, and I've continued to do it up till today.
Yeah. What have been some of the most, in your view, the most important or interesting findings from this research?
I think the thing that's amazed me the most, and surprised me, is how, interesting question, how lots of women refuse to admit or call their experience rape and go to extraordinary lengths. When you have people write about their experience, which is what we do, we don't call it rape, we just ask them to write about the experience. They will sometimes put in big capital letters, "This is not rape," even though what they're writing about fits the legal definition of rape to a T. And one of the things I'm very interested in right now is what are some of the limits. For example, women who've been raped by a boyfriend never call it rape. When we ask observers to read the same descriptions, the observers can't decide. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes no. Oral sex, even if it's forced, women do not call it sex. Again, observers aren't sure. They think maybe it is, maybe it's not me, maybe that is right. But there are certain situations, alcohol. If the woman's been drinking, she seems to blame herself. I shouldn't have been drinking. I should have known better. Kind of counterfactual. So one of the things I think I'd like to explore is what are some of the limits of this? What can lead? What are some things that lead people to call it rape and not exactly? We've tried to do some stuff with men, and it's not been very successful. I've never gotten anything. We tried to do something on men's rape scripts and what happens during a typical rape, and it's very interesting data. We tried to look at acknowledged and unacknowledged rapists. We couldn't get people to acknowledge that they'd raped anybody. We couldn't get a sample.
Sure. Yeah, that's
even responding anonymously.
Right.